Here we have the new 2026 Buick Enclave. This one comes in the preferred trim level, Moonstone Gray Metallic. And then we do have the Sandstone Leatherette interior. For the powertrain, we got a 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. That's made it to an 8-speed automatic transmission. As we come around to the front end here, we do get our LED headlamps along with the LED daytime running lights. And nice look here. I really like how sophisticated the front face is, even in this preferred. I love how you get the gloss black with the chrome trim in the grille there. It just makes it look premium, even though this is the lowest trim level. Down here, these are 20-inch alloy wheels. Again, nice design choice here for the more basic trim. We get passive keyless entry on all 4 doors. To the door panel, power door lock controls. We have power folding side mirrors that are heated and have blind spot monitors. We get express down on 3 windows. Driver's side gets 1 touch up and down. Lift gate here. We do get a Bose sound system, which is nice. And then our electronic parking brake. We can go through our drive modes, automatic brake hold, auto stop toggle, hood release. There are the pedals there. This one does include the all-weather mats. But here's the power driver's seat, and we do get 4-way power lumbar support here, which is nice. Specifically in this segment, I feel like that's a nice thing to have there. But a huge thanks to Chevrolet Buick GMC of Murfreesboro for allowing me to review this vehicle today. I'll leave a link below in the description. If you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click that second link down below. It takes just a minute to fill out your information, and I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get you the best price on this or whatever new vehicle you might be interested in. But the glass is pretty tinted back here, so I'm not gonna be able to show the whole window sticker. But I have the seat up front adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3" with longer legs, so we're gonna see if we can scoot the seat all the way back, which is looking like we might have to do the 3rd row up first, because just the way the vehicle's configured, with the 3rd row down, you can't necessarily get the 2nd row seat all the way back. So that's how that works, the seat up. Your top tethers are integrated on the back of the seats themselves in the 2nd and 3rd row. And then storage in here is pretty good as well. You do get a 12 volt in the back. But with that, I'll be able to actually see in here. But there is the back end taillight bar there, dual exhaust. If you need to hook up a trailer hitch, it's right there. But now I can scoot the seat all the way back. And let's check out the space. So not bad room back here. Seat back pockets are on both sides. You get your rear AC controls here, control fan speed, temperature, the mode, all of that. Bottle holders. And then you get 2 USB-C charge ports there and a little storage tray as well. And there's a view of the front from back here. LED reading lights throughout. Now there's a look at that 3rd row. So you get a USB-C charge port and a bottle holder on either side. And I mean, the space back there, you kind of see it there, even though that seat's not all the way back. It's decent, I think, for a 3-row SUV of this caliber. It's not a Tahoe, it's not an Escalade, so I don't expect that kind of space back here. But still, I think relatively good. Child locks, lock, unlock there. And there's the fuel filler. And just another glance at the back. We'll come around to the rear passenger side. And then I'll show you how this folds down. You can take that, pull, pretty easy to do. And then you can also pull up from here and it'll tumble forward for easier access to the 3rd row. And I apologize for any wind noise coming through here. It's just kind of fluctuating. Now this is another nice treat. Power front passenger seat, 4-way power lumbar there as well. Glove compartment here. And then as we come back around to the front end, just a quick look in the engine bay. And there's that 2.5 Turbo 4. But next, we'll just go ahead and show off the blinkers. So LED in the back. We got them in the side mirrors as well, and then LED up front. So just a very, very nice looking vehicle on the outside. But to the interior here, you get a leather wrapped steering wheel, newer Buick logo there. There's the horn. Now over here to the screen, I believe this is 30 inches continuous. It's all one screen there, which is a nice look. And it's not a Tesla or an Escalade, but it still has its own look of sophistication like you'd expect from a Buick. It's modern, but it's not overly flashy. Now here we can see our vehicle status, and pretty easy to look at the air filter life, oil life, tire pressure monitors, all of that. Or you can go into the sub-menus themselves and see all of that there. And then my Buick camera views. You do get a front camera here, backup camera. You get side views as well, and then you have that hitch view on the back. Your settings include teen driver, rear seat reminder, buckle to drive. You can toggle all of those on or off. And then your system settings down here includes your language you can change and your units of measurement as well. Now, ambient lighting, when equipped, you can turn that on. Now, in the Buicks, it is kind of difficult because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know what necessarily causes that to do one thing or the other. So you want to make sure in your vehicle that the lights work if that's a must-have for you. Well, we do get dual zone automatic climate controls. The controls are on the screen here. You have a few knobs down below, including cutting the system on or off, auto, and then adjusting the temperature for either side of the fan speed. And then you also have those along with your 3-stage heated seats at the bottom of the screen here pretty much all the time, if you ever want to fool with that. But the climate menu here, you can go here, adjust the rear climate if you want to do that. And then you have a few settings there as well. And then AM, FM, XM, Bluetooth, you get wireless CarPlay, Android Auto compatibility, Google News, you get the USB drive as well. And then Google Maps is part of this Google Assistant system. And then your auto high beams, the window lockout, park assist, traction control, etc. is all in this controls menu right here. Now in this bottom corner, you might have just seen what I did. This is how you adjust your headlamps. It's always going to be in the screen. You don't have a knob for that, but if you leave it in auto, 99.9% of the time, that'll be just fine for you. And then your lane keeping system, you can toggle that as well. But down here, AC vents, the USB-C and USB-A port that connect to the radio are right there. And then back in here, you have a 12 volt. And I'll try to get a better view of the storage there. I really like this because you can kind of hide stuff, but it's also just, it keeps everything out of the way as well. And then here, nice big wireless charging pad. Your volume knob is here. And then bottle holders here, as well as the center console cubby space, which also has a removable tray. But there's a look at the back from up here. And then your sunglasses holders there. Hazards are here. There's the vanity mirror. And then back to the front, blinkers. And then your wipers. Fluid there for the rear, front fluid there. And then for the shifter, it's on the column, so hit the brake, pull up for neutral, pull, reverse, pull, down for drive, press that for park. And while in drive, you can activate the limiter. So it'll give you that low gear, and then you can use the paddle shifters behind the steering wheel to toggle what's going on there. I'll kind of just show you real quick. And then you can see in that bottom right-hand corner, it'll show you what gear you're in. But behind the steering wheel on the left side, we can toggle track list or radio station presets, and behind on the right side, volume up, volume down there. We do get standard adaptive cruise. We can turn that on or off here, and then we can hold this cancel button to go between adaptive and regular. And then we can set the speed in either cruise control there. And then the gap adjust for the forward collision alert, as well as the adaptive cruise is right here. And then voice recognition, this button. Now, right side start, we can go through our radio station favorites or track lists, depending on what audio source we're in. We can go through the audio sources here and then use that scroll bar. And then this is kind of a mute button when you're not in the Bluetooth mode. That's the Bluetooth button. Heated steering wheel toggle. And then this goes through your gauge faces. So you have like 4 or 5 options for that. Push button start. Finally, here's the key fob with remote start. And next, let's go ahead and take this 2026 Buick Enclave Preferred out on the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in this Enclave, first and foremost, if you all have been subscribed to the channel or following me for a minute, I apologize. I haven't been posting as usual. You might be able to tell I'm kind of getting over a cold now, so that's why I haven't been doing too much. But as for this vehicle, right under $50,000, I think you get quite a bit for the money here. You still have that ride that you expect from a Buick. You still get the nice interior. You still get everything that an Enclave has to offer, even if it's not the Sport Touring, the Avenir, those more loaded out trim levels. But with this here, you do get your heated seats still, the adaptive cruise control, which I think is a big plus on a vehicle like this. And then just having the option to go between the drive modes as well, your Tour, Sport, Snow and Ice, Tow Haul mode. Now this only has about 7 miles, so I'm gonna give it a little pull, but not gonna floor it just because it is a relatively new vehicle. But it'll be fine for what I'm about to do. Here we go. So again, just got it up to speed like I would my vehicle, not flooring it, not thrashing it, but giving it enough to, you know, just giving it a little bit of power there. Acceleration is really good in these 2.5 turbos. It surprisingly pushes these bigger vehicles, pretty much like the Turbo Max in the Silverados, a lot better than a V6 in my opinion. Now you're not getting like crazy fuel economy, but you're getting still better than you would with a V6, and you have a better feeling of acceleration, in my opinion. But I do want to give another thanks to Chevrolet Buick GMC of Murfreesboro for allowing me to review this Enclave today. I'll leave a link below in the description. If you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click that second link down below. It takes just a minute to fill out your information, and I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get you the best price on this or whatever new vehicle you might be interested in. But the ride quality is fantastic, like I would expect. I don't know what it is about the Buicks, but rides better than the Traverse to me, even though they're on similar platforms. Same thing with the Acadia. This just is so smooth, and they did such a good job making sure that this ride quality is on par with what you'd expect from a Buick. But I think this is really a solid option for the money because you're stickered right under 50,000 and looks just as elegant as you would expect from a Buick, even though this is the preferred trim level. Love having the 4-way power lumbar here on both sides, and that's, I think, a big plus for a lot of people that are in this segment, especially if they're going from an older Enclave and you're trying to sell them on the 4-cylinder, you're trying to sell them on a lot of this newer stuff that's needed for emissions, for the times, just whatever. And just having that 4-way power lumbar on both sides in the preferred trim is a nice touch, I think. And the leatherette feels good, looks good. It's not leather, but it's one of those things where if you had leather on these types of seats, it'd probably feel about the same. Seats aren't made as comfortable, in my opinion, as they used to be. They're meant more for support, for longevity, and that's what you get here. The seat feels a bit stiffer, but it's still comfortable. Now for the gauge faces, I think it's interesting how they decided to kind of keep the tachometer here in that bottom left-hand corner, kind of like more towards the center though. It's always there so you can see it, but a lot of people driving these, that's not really a big deal. So again, it's nice that it's there, but it's not necessarily taking up half the gauge cluster. If you want the maps, that's there. If you want to see the safety system, that's there. And then if you just want to have a more basic feel, seeing the time, the date, and then how fast you're going, you have that. But I think Buick did a really good job. It's still making this a Buick. Again, it's easy to control, easy to navigate, even with everything being touchscreen. All of that makes sense. You have a big volume knob here. You're not having to go through the screen to turn the volume up or down. And then you still have the controls on the steering wheel as well. And I think for whether you're someone like myself, like early 30s, or if you're somebody like my grandmother who's in her early 80s, you will appreciate this for what it is. Relatively quick, you have different drive modes you can go through, and it's just the best of both worlds depending on who you are, whether you want something sporty or you want something that's like the older Buicks. So with all that being said, this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2026 Buick Enclave Preferred.